Let's head now to College Green. We're off to College Green. I'm delighted to welcome Alicia Kearns, who is the Shadow National Security Minister. Good morning, Alicia Kearns, and welcome to Talk Breakfast. Donald Trump not happy with the Prime Minister's trip to China. Take a listen to the leader of the free world and his remarks about Keir Starmer's trip to Beijing.
Mr. President, what do you think about the UK getting into business with China? Keir Starmer was in Beijing.
Well, it's very dangerous for them to do that, and it's even more dangerous, I think, for Canada to get into business with China.
Alicia Kearns, do you think that the Prime Minister has struck the right balance between our economic self-interest and our national security?
I'm afraid it's a hard no on that one. Look, our national security has to come before our economic security. People used to try and argue this point with me, and then we had the renewed illegal invasion of Ukraine, where we saw the impact on our cost of living, on our energy bills. And the reality, he has gone begging bowl in hand, saying, please solve my self-inflicted economic woes, and I'm not going to require anything of you for me to give you this propaganda visit. Oh, but you did require me to pre-approve the Chinese Communist Party embassy. I'm afraid it stinks. It's not in the national interest. And ultimately, after the increase in hostile activities we've seen from the Chinese Communist Party against our country in the last 18 months, what essentially does it say in terms of deterrence? It says you can do whatever you want to our country, and not only will we not deter you or punish you in any way, we'll reward you with a visit.
Well, I tend to agree. The problem we've got, don't we, Alicia, is a lack of economic firepower, which makes it difficult for us to stand up to China.
The thing I'd say about that is Keir Starmer's been really keen to say they're our third biggest trading partner. You know, we can't ignore them. Firstly, no one's saying ignore them, but he's slightly being misleading there. So China has a £37 billion trade surplus with us. They need us more than them. The reality is that good exports under this government are down 27%. Exports to China overall are down about 40%. And actually, it's the Chinese buying from us. It's not us importing. But even the idea that we should be really bedding down essentially on an economic relationship with them is strategically naive. Xi Jinping has said he wants his country to be completely strategically autonomous, essentially to be able to be completely self-sufficient. So in the long term, he's not looking to give us economic wins, but to do it in the context of a British national being held hostage, an increased attacks on our country, a spy at the heart of the British Parliament. I mean, what message does any British person listening to this think that sends to the Xi Jinping?
Most definitely, although it could be argued that our economic decline happened on the watch of the Conservatives over 14 years. If we'd had robust economic growth, proper investment in the military, we wouldn't be in this situation.
We've said that there are things for us to learn, and we are reflecting on that very clearly. I think we're being very honest with the British people going forward about what's happening. But let's also be honest, we did have the pandemic, and I'm incredibly proud of how we responded to that. We stood up for the British people, we supported them, we got them through it when other countries suffered far worse. We had the renewed illegal invasion of Ukraine. Those aren't excuses, they're facts. We are learning the lessons that the British people have very clearly given us, and we will come back with a very clear economic offer, and that's one that's sensible, pragmatic, and that we can meaningfully deliver on.
A growing war of words, Alicia, between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump over a range of issues, including the disposal of the Chagos Islands. What do you make of Donald Trump? Because I've got viewers and listeners to the show today, Alicia, who take the view that Donald Trump is far from perfect. And of course, it's incredibly tragic that 2 protesters have died at the hands of the ICE officers seeking the deportation of illegal immigrants. But many of my viewers and listeners are saying I would take Donald Trump over Keir Starmer in a heartbeat because he puts Britain first, or he puts America first. If he was UK Prime Minister, he would put Britain first. What's your view of that?
I'm afraid Donald Trump is not someone I would ever want to see in charge of our country. I fundamentally disagree with him on many of his approaches, but not least that his lack of commitment to truth or to honesty is something that we should really be concerned about. His actions recently towards Greenland are utterly unacceptable and were essentially naked imperialism. I'm glad he's rowed back from that. But let's be very clear, our relationship with America has never been dependent on who was in the White House and who was in number 10. We have to have that relationship relationship. It fundamentally matters. And actually, the UK has a unique ability to go and speak to the US system, to get in those doors and have those conversations. But we haven't seen Keir Starmer be able to really make hay with that relationship and make it, despite having given, state visits and all sorts. And I think that really reflects on Keir's failure as a diplomat, because I'd like to think if I was Prime Minister and I'd given a state visit to Donald Trump, that we would have not had tariffs put on us, for example, over Greenland, and we would have been in a much better place with America. So, look, people can talk to me about how proud Donald Trump of his country. I will not apologise for how strongly I defend our country, how proud I am. And I'm so angry at the way that Labour constantly talks us down and apologises for our history. But that doesn't mean that I think Donald Trump is the answer just because he refuses to talk down his own country.
Alicia, it's been fantastic to have you on the show. I look forward to our next on-air encounter. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. Alicia Kearns is a Conservative MP and Shadow National Security Minister.